All right, well, welcome to Tuesday. Today, although I don't have it written down, our I can statement is that today we can construct or create, draw, make quadrilaterals, which are four-sided shapes, given specific criteria. So today we're going to be giving different criteria about side lengths and angles and parallel sides and things like that, and we're going to be using those clues to help us figure out what type of quadrilateral we're going to be drawing. So I thought I would start by showing you these really super cool tools that I have. They're called Exploragons, and as you can see, they come in all different sizes. They're on Amazon if you're interested in purchasing them. And I've actually got 8 different side length sizes here. And they snap together and they come with a cool little protractor. And if we were in the classroom, we would be using these to make triangles and quadrilaterals. And I only just got them about 2 weeks ago. So I think they're pretty super cool. So we're going to be using them today. So I thought what we would do first is just a quick little review of quadrilaterals. So let's see if we can figure out what this one is. So I want you to take a second and I want you to see if you can think about what type of quadrilateral I've made here with my Exploragons. And you can easily see I've got 4 very different side lengths. They're different colors. And if you said quadrilateral, you are exactly right. There is nothing special about this quadrilateral. It is just a quadrilateral. In fact, the cool thing about it is I could change it this way. Some of you might say, oh, that looks like a parallelogram, but no, because it only doesn't even have any sets of parallel sides. Look at that. I could turn it into a scalene obtuse triangle if I wanted to. Could make it like this, like this. Wow, even that little bend right there, this is still a quadrilateral. So right here we've just got a garden variety quadrilateral. Nothing special. All right, let's take a look at this next one. This time, if I set it up just right, there's something special about this particular quadrilateral. Do you notice it? If you said that it has 2 or it has a pair of parallel sides, you're exactly right. It just has 1 pair of parallel sides. So this quadrilateral is a, fill in the blank, trapezoid. You're exactly right. It's a trapezoid. Now if I turn it like this, is it a trapezoid anymore? Nope, because these 2 sides are no longer parallel. Let's get it straight. Now I've got parallel sides. Now it's a trapezoid. So a trapezoid is a special kind of quadrilateral that has 1 pair of parallel sides. All right, so we've got my quadrilateral, I've got my trapezoid, and thought I would show you, I even have another type of trapezoid right here. To be real careful with it though, to make sure that these sides stay parallel. So these are both trapezoids. All right, let's take a look at this shape. All right, is it a quadrilateral? Why, yes it is. It has 4 sides. And what would you call this quadrilateral? Think for a second. If you said parallelogram, you're exactly right, because the purple sides are parallel to each other and the green sides are parallel to each other. So this is a parallelogram. It's a quadrilateral with 2 sets of parallel sides. Now what I love about these Exploragons is that they actually show you what happens when you give this parallelogram 4 right angles. Isn't that so cool? You guys have to get on Amazon and order these. Tell your parents I'm sorry. They're so cool. Look at that. 4 right angles. So this is a parallelogram, see that? With 4 right angles. So this is a rectangle. It's also a parallelogram and it's also a quadrilateral. So I can really see that when I mess around with it here. Now let's suppose that I took that rectangle and instead of having 2 purple sides and 2 green sides, I gave it all green sides. All right, and let's pretend that I did one like that and I still have those 4 right angles. This would be a square. So a square is a special kind of rectangle that has 4 right angles, 2 pairs of parallel sides, but it has 4 sides of equal length. Now, you might also be thinking, well, what about that other thing, that other kind of parallelogram that had 4 equal sides? Do you remember that from yesterday? I hope so. Well, that parallelogram is called a rhombus, and I just kind of think it's when a square just slumps over. So I can see here I've got a parallelogram, and I have another kind of parallelogram called a rhombus, and this is my rhombus, is a parallelogram that has 4 sides that are equal length. And then that rhombus can become a square when it sits up straight and it gets 4 right angles. So lots of stuff, lots of thinking to do as we get into our lesson today. So today what we're going to do is we're actually going to be reading some directions, and we are going to be constructing quadrilaterals based on some different types of specifications. Now, I told you that you could have some spaghetti out. I'm not actually going to be using the spaghetti today since I used my Exploragons, but definitely have spaghetti out. And you can practice making different types of quadrilaterals with your spaghetti. If it asks you for 2 sides that are equal length or 4 sides that are equal length, you just need to break your spaghetti into 4 equal pieces. So this is a great tool to have at home. You may not have Exploragons. I'm guessing you probably don't. Maybe not this week. Maybe you will next week if you get some. But you do have spaghetti that you can break. Not quite as fun, but still works. So today what we're going to do is we are going to get into our problem set, and this is lesson 15 in Eureka Math, and this is page 115 in your Learn book. And this is actually it for our Eureka Math Module 4. We're going to be finished with it as after today. So what I also need for you to have is your straight edge, and we're going to just do our best as to making right angles, because it's kind of hard to do that, but we can take our time and draw neatly, and I think we can do that. So let's read what it says. Today we're going to construct figures with the given attributes. Name the shape we created. Be as specific as possible. And it says to use extra blank paper as needed. So I've pulled out some graph paper, and I've got my graph paper here if I need it. Sometimes it's helpful to have that graph paper. All right, number 1 says that we're going to construct quadrilaterals with at least 1 pair of parallel sides. Now, if you have a ruler, this is going to be so helpful, because if you just draw on the top and bottom of your ruler, guess what you have? Well, you have parallel sides. Look at that. I've got 2 parallel sides. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to label those, and then let's see, I think I'll connect. Sorry, I'm shaking. And I'll connect. Look at that. All right, is this a quadrilateral? Yes. Does it have at least 1 pair of parallel sides? Yes. You see that word at least? At least means it can have more. So it just has to have at least 1 set of parallel sides. So that means that I could make it have 2 sets of parallel sides if I wanted to. Look at that. All right. This one has at least 1 set. It has 2 sets. All right. Let's see if I can do another one. You guys can do this too. Really, anything that you create here is going to work just fine as long as it has at least 1 set of parallel sides. All right, so I have constructed 3 different quadrilaterals with at least 1 set of parallel sides. And it says to name them, so let's look at them. Well, this one has just 1 set, and this one has just 1 set. So these are our trapezoids. And I should have reminded you, I will right now, to have this handy, our little quadrilateral description from yesterday. Just have it somewhere close by. Okay, this one, of course, is a square. I'll even throw in those right angle marks. All of these are quadrilaterals with at least one set of parallel sides. Even though this one has two, it has at least one. I hope that makes sense. All right, this one, construct a quadrilateral with at least two sets of parallel sides. Well, I could make that square if I wanted to. It's got two sets of parallel sides. What else could I make? That's what I'm talking about. It's kind of hard in your book with that bump right here. All right, I've got a set of parallel sides and another one. What else could I draw? Two sets of parallel sides. Well, I don't know about you, but I was thinking about rectangle, were you? I can go back and I can look here at my chart and I can say, well, which ones of these had at least two sets of parallel sides? Look, I could draw a parallelogram. I could draw a rhombus. I could draw a rectangle or a square. I could draw 4 of these in here. So I'm going to do that quickly because all of these have two sets of parallel sides. All right, since I'm drawing a rectangle, I'm be specific if I need to erase. All right, so I've got a square. I've got a rectangle. Could I draw anything else? You betcha. Looking back at my chart, I could draw a rhombus or a parallelogram. So I'm going to do that. Okay, well, golly, geometry is so specific, isn't it, guys? And you all are doing such a fabulous job being specific. Okay, well, remember, these aren't going to be perfect. All right, these sides are not quite equal, so I'm going to call this one just a plain old parallelogram. And then, boy, oh boy, a rhombus. That one's hard to do. Try to make these about as equal as I can. It's hard because I've not got a whole lot of space here. I definitely want to encourage you to use this straight edge as much as you can. All right. So my rhombus, remember, is a parallelogram, but it has 4 equal sides. All right. Now I'm going to construct a parallelogram with 4 right angles. Can I draw all of these again down here? I can't. These two don't have 4 right angles. So I'm getting more and more specific as I'm going down this page. Here, I can only draw a parallelogram that has 4 right angles. So that means I can only draw one of the shapes that are under the parallelogram that has 4 right angles. And I see 2. I see a rectangle and a square. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to draw myself a rectangle and a square. All right, here's my square. And I'm going to make sure that I show my 4 right angles and my 2 sets of parallel sides. Because it says parallelogram, that means I have to remember that a parallelogram has 2 sets of parallel sides. And then let me draw my rectangle. So my rectangle is going to be different because my side lengths are not going to be all the same. All right, so here's my rectangle. It's a parallelogram because it has 2 sets of parallel sides and 4 right angles. Can I draw anything else here? Nope, I cannot. I can't draw anything else because these are the only 2 parallelograms that have 4 right angles. Now I'm going to get even more specific down here. On number 4, it says construct a rectangle with all sides the same length. Well, usually when I see rectangle, I think about something that looks like this, but it doesn't have 4 sides the same length. So I can remember from my quadrilateral family tree yesterday that a rectangle that has sides of the same length is actually a square. So a square is a special kind of rectangle that has sides that are the same length. That's the most specific type of quadrilateral that you're going to get. 4 right angles and 4 equal sides. So it's kind of cool. I can see what I was able to draw at the top begins to get smaller and smaller until I get to this one specific quadrilateral. All right. Let's flip the page over and let's look at page 116. This one says to use the word bank to name each shape, being as specific as possible. So we've got 4 words here: parallelogram, trapezoid, rectangle, and square. So I want you to use your chart. Take a second, see if you can fill those in. So I'm going to give you a minute. I love the way they've labeled. Now, this is kind of an interesting thing to note. We haven't seen this before. These little lines that go, well, we have seen these before. We saw them on our triangles, didn't we? These little dashes, these little ticks are just denoting that these 4 sides are the same. All right. So you take a second and I want you to fill in the correct word. All right, I'm going to go over these. So if you have not finished writing them in, just pause me till you're done and then you can check and correct with me. All right, for this very first one, we have a trapezoid. 1 set of parallel sides. For B, we have a parallelogram. 2 sets of parallel sides. For C, we have a square. I'm going to draw in those right angles just because that's what we were doing. The square is a parallelogram. It's a rectangle because it has 4 right angles, but it has 4 sides the same. So it's definitely a square. So I've used, use these 3 words. And my last shape, obviously, is my rectangle. All right. For number 6, explain the attribute that makes a square a special rectangle. Let's look back at that chart that we did yesterday. Hopefully you have yours handy. What makes a square a special rectangle? Think on that for a second. I hate that I can't hear your answers, by the way. Okay. Well, the attribute that makes a square a special rectangle is that it has 4 sides the same length. All right. What's the attribute that makes a rectangle a special parallelogram? Look at number 7. What makes a rectangle a special parallelogram? I hope you're noticing in the corners those right angles. A rectangle is a parallelogram that's sitting up straight. We learned about this earlier with my exploragons. Here's a parallelogram. A rectangle is a special one because it has 4 right angles. So I'm going to say 4 right angles. And then last, we're going to just take number 8 and we are going to exit out. And there's a reason to this. I won't go into it too much, but it's going to look really funky to you. It says, explain the attribute that makes a parallelogram a special trapezoid. Well, in North Carolina and in math in most of the United States, parallelograms and trapezoids are different. In America, we're not going to say that a parallelogram is a special kind of trapezoid. We could get technical and we could say that it has at least one pair of parallel sides. But here in America, here in North Carolina, a trapezoid has one set of parallel sides and a parallelogram has 2. So we're not even going to do question number 8. Now for your exit ticket, which you are going to do for me, you have 2 things to do. You have to draw a parallelogram and send me a picture. Please make sure you label it. Please make sure you put those parallel arrows on it to show me which sides are parallel. And then you're going to write me a sentence to explain why is a rectangle a special kind of parallelogram. All right, you've done a great job on this. When you come to Zoom on today, yes, on Tuesday, we're going to play some games where we're going to be reviewing some of our geometry. So I can't wait to see you. Please come, it'll be fun. We've got a Jeopardy game we're going to try, and I've also got some quadrilateral riddles that we're going to see if we can solve. So I will see you then. It's going to be at 3 o'clock on Tuesday, not at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock on Tuesday. Have fun with this. Send me your exit tickets, and I'll see you soon.